This video is a quick overview of the Compass, which is a companion spreadsheet to the book, The Valuation Analyst, Research and Extracting Adjustment Rates. Now we're going to kind of go through this pretty fast and skip several steps. The purpose here is to provide you enough information to see if you're interested in learning this product. Now at this time, I already have comparables. My data has been imported. I have already loaded some comps, and you have to use 10 comps for this. Now, this spreadsheet is kind of a back to the future situation where it's very futuristic in how it behaves, but it does not do regression analysis. It uses the analysis that appraisers are more familiar with, like paired sales and sensitivity analysis. I'm not going to worry about manual adjustments. If you decide that you're interested in this, you can watch the additional videos and it'll give a more breakdown of these other issues. Now, the data is loaded, and what we're going to do, we're going to start the Mimic. Now, the Mimic, it's kind of an artificial intelligence, sophisticated algorithm that gives a first go through of making adjustments. Now, you'll notice here that some of the property features like site, gross living area, basement finish, these from quality and up are possible for the Compass to extract adjustment rates automatically. Now, where you see green, that means that, for example, all the basement finishes for the sales were 0. So they're all the same basically. So we don't have to deal with them. So there's an X for the program to know not to bother to run them. The green means that you're kind of good to go unless you want to put in your, well, you wouldn't even put in your own adjustment if they're all the same. So like the quality ratings are all 3. The locations were all 3. So we're only worried about the site, the gross living area, the garage, the pool, and the day sale and condition. Now, what's happened is this chart here shows is a chart basically of the residuals. Now, the Valuation Analyst book talks a lot about residuals, so you will need to get that and read about residuals if you don't know about them. And we want these blue dots to be on this gray line. Now, this data is not hard data because, again, there's 2 reasons we're looking at this video. One is to see if this is something you're interested in as an appraiser. The second reason we're doing this is to see if it basically works. Anytime you use some type of a highly automated program to help you extract adjustment rates, you should create a hypothetical market of data and run it through. We know that when you do that, you know the answer. So this is hypothetical data. For example, I know the answer. The predicted sales price should be $340,400, and see how close the Mimic got to it. Extremely close here, 339, and the answer is 340,400. So I can see this. I can also look at more of what you think of as a regression line, but it's like I say, regression is not used in this spreadsheet. But this plots the actual sales price against the predicted sales prices, and you can see it's done a really, really good job. Now, the Mimic is kind of a black box, and that's almost where we've been with regression. Although regression is not a black box, it shows you what it does. But when it shows you, actually that's the problem. It gives absurdities, and for example, it might say a pool's worth 100,000, and it might say the gross living area is worth a -10. And when that happens, people lose confidence in it. Although I can promise you, if you use a closed system, the answer it gives will be correct. But our users of appraisers are apparently not ready for that. So we're going to go one step further now. We're going to go farther than the black box. I'm going to click on Site. Now, what just ran is a sensitivity analysis. And again, this sensitivity analysis is indicating $10,000 for the site. Now I use a site rating, not site size. I rate the site. So by my rating system, the better the site is, it's saying here in chart A, it's saying about 10,000. That's a sensitivity analysis. That's described in the valuation analyst book, how you calculate that. The residual, looking at just the residual analysis in two different ways, it's showing about 8,000. Now over here we see the paired sales, it's showing 7. So the appraiser could use anywhere from 7 to 10. Now the computer looked and it thinks maybe 8's okay. So we'll just leave that. Now let's go to the gross living area. And also each time that one of these is run, you can look at the predicted sales price against this is the old one. And these are the residuals, which is the MAPE and the average deviation, and then the final one here where you see 1.7, that's an average of the two highest of the 10 sales residuals, and we'll look at the residual breakdown. So that's the two highest. These are not in absolutes, and so you can take a better look at those. Now this is superficiously high here. These are low. I mean, really goods when I said high, but really low. In real life, they'll never be low. Now, in some of the other videos that we're going to do, we're going to see that these will vary quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I hope to use some data that won't even work with this, because that's possible. So there's a lot to learn about this. Now let's go and run. See the basement, it won't run because there's an X, and because they're all the same. So these analysis won't work. Now in the garage, the sensitivity analysis is showing about 14,000. It's up at the top. You can see about 14,000. The residual analysis, how well the model predicted for all 10 sales, the residuals is showing about 11,000. And I go over to paired sales, it's showing 10. So the appraiser should probably stay between 10 and 14, but you wouldn't have to. You could override this. You could put in a higher number and then hit use my inputs if you wanted to. Now we'll do the pool. So it's doing a lot of calculations just in those few seconds. It's showing 20,000 in the sensitivity analysis. 16,000 is chart B, is the residuals, and it's showing 18 for the pool. Now the day since sale, and I know the way the model was set up, it should be 0. And you see it's 2, 1, you might have put 1 or so, and it's 0 here. But the correct answer is 0 in this case. And then we look at condition, and condition is set up on a percentage instead of a dollar amount, and quality is on a percentage. So it's showing a -7 for the sensitivity, a -7% for the residuals, and a -6%. So as the condition gets better, it goes, as the condition gets larger, the larger rating, like Fannie Mae does, then the smaller or better, so it goes down, but that's the AUD. Now, once you're done here, you can see the bedrooms and baths are the same. I could have looked at actual age. It's actually saying, why don't you use about $385? I know that's not good because I can see the deviation is way bigger than the amount. So I know that's not good. I don't believe actual age has anything to do with it. So I'm not going to consider it. Now, when I'm done, and you could run these again, the all button would allow you to run all of these if you trust what the computer puts in. Then next I would just select my comps, and we'll get into how that works later. There's 3, pick these 3, 10, 9, and 8. Maybe I don't want 10. Maybe I want 4. I would do that and just close it. And then we could build a report. And then here's our report. Now these are fake addresses, Comp 1 Avenue. And it gives an overview of the sales. Then there's some narrative that explains what chart A and chart B is. And then here's actually what we used and what it's based on. And then we plot the sales prices against the predicted sales prices. And like I said, this is not realistic data, but we wanted to see if it works. And I believe it did work. I mean, I know it did work because of this 0.99, and we know we got our value was very close to what the actual value is. So we know in theory that this works. Now here's the evidence that is part of the report. For the gross living area, it shows chart A and chart B, and it also shows up here the paired sales analysis. So we can see we should be somewhere between 92 and 98, and that explains where this came from. And so for each one of the items that we did, there's the garage, there's the pool, date of sale. You can see it showed 2, 1, and 1. Actually, we use 0, so we might have to explain why we use 0, but I don't know if anybody would question using 0 in this case, because basically you're rounding down from probably 1 or 1.5 to 0. Then it's condition, and then the site. Then if you were only trying to extract adjustment rates, you wouldn't even have to have put the subject date in. It would have given you these same charts. But if in this case we did have a subject, and so we're going to have a adjustment grid that's going to print out. So this came over automatically. These things up here, we'll see in a later video, we could have put in. If there are adjustments, it's good to put them in before you run the charts A, B, and the paired sales, and down here too if you had these adjustments. And let me show you where that would be. You would go up here to manual adjustments and you would put them in. Now in the valuation analyst, it explains that you have to make adjustments. Like if I was trying to find the gross living area, I would have to know these others or it's not going to give me an accurate answer. So the more adjustments you make up front, the better, if there are any to be made. So one of the questions you might have with this and deciding whether you want to use it or not is how much does it cost? What's the cost to you? And this is like I say, this is a companion spreadsheet to the book, the Valuation Analyst. And what you can do is simply buy the book, because you're going to need the information in the book to be able to explain what's going on here, even though as an appraiser, you know what a paired sales is, but actually up here, I'm using something called a cumulative paired sales. Actually, this 29 means I only had 10 sales, but I actually compared the site 29 times because I compared comp 1 to comp site and comp 2 to comp 3 to comp 4 to comp 5 all the way to 10. Then I did comp 2 to comp 3, 4, 5, and 6. And actually it's possible with 10 sales to compare it 45 times. And actually down here in days since sale, we had that. We had 45 paired sales we looked at. But these are extremely highly adjusted because it's a paired sales as adjusted, and that's why I call it a cumulative paired sales as opposed to one type paired sales. And also in the valuation analyst, we mathematically prove that 1 or 2 paired sales is not meaningful. It's very unreliable. And in this case, when I use 29 or 43 or 24 of them, it has potential to be more meaningful. So there's really no cost. You can get this and go to the website and watch the videos and download this free. But I do hope you will buy the book because it's what's funding this. And hopefully, as I wrote the book, The Valuation Analyst, and developed this spreadsheet, I've also come across several techniques that I think might work, but I'm going to have to just stop and spend months and months testing them to see if they do. So you can help fund some of this through buying the book. But the basic answer is this spreadsheet doesn't cost anything. It's there for you to use. It's going to be set to run a year at a time, mainly because I'm going to have to be able to kick you some updates, and you're going to want to watch the website for updates. So this is David Braun from Automated Valuation Technologies. Thank you for watching.